Hey everybody, it's Mike, and I wanted to make a video here to do my own analysis, thoughts on what happened recently with basically an acceleration contest, a drag race, whatever you want to call it, between the Porsche Taycan Turbo, which doesn't even have a turbo. If you've watched some of my videos before on electric vehicles on my channel, digitalnomad.net, it's kind of misnamed, versus the Tesla Model S Performance. Now, I'm gonna talk about some really basic stuff in this video, and I'm also gonna talk about some really technical stuff. And really, anybody who has any knowledge about vehicles that roll on wheels on streets and that people have always tried to race one against another is gonna understand and be able to follow this video. So that's why I'm decided to make it in that format, because a lot of videos are either one extreme or the other, and usually when you're talking about a drag race between two vehicles, if you don't have if you're not a car guy or a car girl or whatever, you have no idea what these people are talking about, or even you wouldn't even know if they were lying to you. And that's kind of the premise of this whole video, is that I do believe that the most recent video that was released last week, that were Top Gear. And if you're not familiar with Top Gear, I really wasn't until recently. Top Gear, I guess, an automotive journalist outfit that's been around for a while. They just talk about cars. They write about cars, how great they are. Get everybody pumped up. They're not very straightforward. They're not. I wouldn't use the word honest to describe them. I would use the word misleading, because somebody who's an automotive journalist, first of all, you'd expect, I would think, that they know what they're talking about, right? Or that they're an expert in their field, right? I mean, I do believe I'm sort of an expert in the field of electric vehicles now. I've had so much experience driving my own. I've got like 100 and getting close to 120,000 miles in almost getting close to 3 years of driving on that one electric vehicle. Top Gear is not an electric vehicle company. I actually hated electric vehicles and Tesla for a long time. Just to give you some background on Top Gear, a lot of folks who are, legacy automotive journalists, I'd say that's a good way to describe them. They're really in bed with the existing manufacturers, because who provides all their advertising? The existing manufacturers. Does Tesla do any advertising? No. So of course Top Gear was not going to want to hear about electric cars, and specifically not Teslas. Maybe a Nissan Leaf, which really cannot compare performance-wise with any type of a decent internal combustion engine vehicle. But Teslas can, and they can actually exceed it. That's the whole thing. So Tesla and Top Gear, a little while ago, a few years back, when they had the original Roadster, and Tesla's coming out with a new Roadster, which is dramatically different, not the same car. The original Roadster was a proof of concept vehicle to make sure that they let investors and the public know that they can actually build a car. It was far from perfect. It was a great car, though. It was very, very expensive for what it was. A very low, much lower value than is provided with the expensive Teslas of today. And anyway, they had some problems. There was back and forth with Elon Musk, the head of Tesla, and the folks at Top Gear, and Elon accusing them of just making crap up, which they probably did, and even having a script where the car breaks down before they even did the use of the car in the videos. But this is just the background. You got to know that Top Gear, just like most automotive organizations, like say even Motor Trend, although Motor Trend's come around to these vehicles, car and driver, these types of people, but especially Motor Trend. I know they did a test on a Tesla Model S, and if you look on Tesla's website, the Model S performance is supposed to accelerate. Now this is important. I'm not going to get into too many numbers, but this is important. The claim is 0 to 60 in 2.4 seconds. It's like the fastest production car on the planet under a certain amount of money. I think there may be one over it, but it's probably like $1 million, whereas a Tesla Model S right now, you can get the top end Model S for like right under $100,000, or maybe just over if you throw some options in on it. So it's a bargain. It used to be 150. Tesla keeps cutting the price. It's a bargain. Just so, since we're talking about price, the Porsche Taycan or Tin Can, like I like to call it, is like twice the money. You can get your Model S performance for like 90 something thousand. You can get your your Porsche Taycan Turbo, which doesn't even have a turbo because there's no internal combustion engine. And even if you don't know about engines, let me just explain this to you, okay? A car people will understand. A turbo is a turbocharger which ram forces air into an internal combustion engine by use of spinning around from exhaust gases coming out the exhaust. Does an electric car have an exhaust? No. Does an electric car ram any air into its engine to make it work? No. No. It doesn't even need any air. It doesn't have a piston engine. So anyway, it's like 190 grand for that car, the Turbo S. Twice the money. So if you look at, Top Gear, of course they want to talk good things about Porsche. I have no invested interest in this. In fact, I've got all kinds of electric vehicle groups, which are probably watching this on right now, okay, that I help to run and manage. Although I do have one, a really popular one about Toyota Tacomas, which is a huge group, but it's not electric vehicle, so this is not going in there. But there are probably a lot of people in that group that would, downplay any kind of electric truck, but electric trucks are hot right now, and if you're watching this, you may be watching this in an electric truck forum, even though you can't even buy an electric pickup truck right now, okay? Although I made a video with my Model X towing like 4,000 plus pounds. So we do have electric towing vehicles, and Tesla makes them, but the electric trucks are the hot thing right now. So where was I going with that? Now I can't remember. Oh, by the way, if you're out there, you want to comment on any of this video while I'm doing it, or even after the fact, type your comments in wherever you're watching. If you want me to respond to it right now while we're live, go to adigitalnomad.net YouTube channel. Just go to that YouTube, type in adigitalnomad.net, and you will find me there, the live stream. I will get those questions right on my little display here. So Porsche is really expensive. We know that Top Gear is mainly dealing with legacy cars, although I think everyone's seen the writing on the wall, because one more bit of history about Top Gear. Just, you got to know all this history to kind of know where this is going, where it's coming from, why we're in the situation. Because it's bad. It's a bad situation, and you know that there's going to be resistance. There's always resistance when there's a paradigm shift and some kind of change. Like we went from smoking indoors everywhere to banning it everywhere. That was a paradigm shift. You might be watching this on our nonprofit channel, because that talks about the paradigm shift between eating animal products and that type of a lifestyle to eating plant-based and that type of a lifestyle. Another paradigm shift. We're in the middle of that one now. We're also in the middle of this paradigm shift between legacy internal combustion engine car makers that are all driven by humans to go to mainly electric vehicles that are all autonomous. You don't have to have electric vehicle to be autonomous, but electric vehicles are so much better. And if you watch my channel, you'll know why they're so much better. There's so many benefits, so many. I can't even think of a benefit for internal combustion engines anymore, short of gas prices have not been rising. That's it. So it may seem to be inexpensive to drive, but what you don't know, if you think that, is that you don't realize how inexpensive the electricity is to power your electric vehicle. It's a lot less money, and there's actually no road tax right now. Don't tell anybody. Okay, but I'm sure they'll work that in with electric vehicles at some point. So Top Gear people, they could not stand Tesla a few years back. But then once they drove a Model S Performance, they drove one of the P100Ds. It used to be called P100D. It's now just called either Tesla Model S or Tesla Model S Performance. Those are the only ones available. There used to be a range of different battery pack sizes and everything. Same with the Model X that I have. I've got a 90D, but it's not available. It's just either you buy a Model X or you buy a Model X Performance. Nobody needs the Performance, first of all. Let me just tell you that. If you're not a car person, nobody needs the Performance version of any Tesla. Okay, because why? Because Tesla doesn't make slow cars. Okay, my car is like from the factory when I got it 3 years ago, non-performance, like 4.5 seconds, 4.7, something like that, to 60 miles an hour. Okay, no, and now there's no gears. There's nothing to shift. It's even faster when you're passing cars on the highway, trying to overtake somebody on a double yellow line. It'll blow almost any other car out of the water, and that's the non-performance kind. So just recognize that too. Tesla does not make slow vehicles. So the minute that Top Gear got their hands on a Model S, they couldn't deny it any longer. Okay, it was such a great car, and I think some of the folks who work for, I think that it made newsworthy. Some of the folks that work for Top Gear started saying, "I'm buying one as my daily driver." I don't know if it's a Model S, a Model 3, whatever it is. This video, by the way, only applies to the Model S Performance, okay? Or the Model S P90D or P100D. It does not apply. It could apply to the Model X because they have similar car designations, but Model 3 does not, and I'm going to get into that in a little while. Okay, Donovan Small. James May, that used to work on Top Gear, he drives a P100D. He does it. Okay, yeah. See, I mean, They were so impressed. They hated it, hated it, hated it. That's how a lot of these changes happen. Like with smoking, everyone said, "Oh, they're lying to you. There's no negative health benefits of smoking. There's nothing wrong with smoking. It's all propaganda." They kept saying that till all of a sudden all these laws got passed. Giant lawsuits with huge settlements were won, and it was over. Same thing with Top Gear. I think that when James May, I guess, did that, that was one of these paradigm shifts, one of these massive changes that's happening right now with plant-based eating versus animal product eating too. We're in the middle of that paradigm shift and that huge change that's happening with electric cars. Like I just said, I won't get into that anymore. Anyway, so it turns out that they really like it. But what was interesting was, Model S has been around for a long time now. You guys may not know this. Okay, I'm making this for everybody watching the video. Model S has been out since 2012. There are some people, I think, like Gwen, if you're out there watching, I know she's got one of the first Model S's ever made. They look, if you're 10 feet away, you would not be able to tell the difference between her car, even looking at the interior, exterior, interior, than one rolling off the production line right now. Same car. Porsche is late to the game, like everybody else is late to the game. But they went on, Porsche says, "Oh, we're all about performance." That's what they always say, whatever that means. Because if you got to go with the numbers, you got to go with the facts. If you just say Porsche is all about performance, that means nothing. Nothing. At least Tesla's performance models are actually faster than the regular ones, and by a decent amount of time. Say, for instance, my Model X does like 4.7 seconds, I think. This is my memory, 60. The performance version of that one is like 3.2. So you shave like 1.5 seconds, which is a significant percentage of the actual time itself off of there. There's a huge difference. So Porsche makes two models of their Taycan, which it's not even on the roads yet. You can maybe place an order for one, but you can't even drive one. Somehow Top Gear got their hands on it. And of course, if Top Gear got their hands on it, and Top Gear is a legacy reviewer, and Top Gear has all these ads from different and support from the ICE legacy manufacturers, ICE internal combustion engine. Of course, if Porsche hands them a vehicle, they're going to say everything great they possibly can about it, right? And I'm sure it's a great car. I mean, my gosh, it better be if the equivalent models are like twice the price of a Tesla. And yeah, we know Teslas aren't perfect, but Porsches aren't perfect either. And not to mention, I made a video about this. The Porsche Taycan is actually built on an ICE platform. Okay, it's built on the Pan America platform, and I think that there's another internal combustion engine vehicle, like a Bentley or something, or I don't even know what it is, that shares that platform. But it's not a pure electric platform, which means it's going to have some inconsistencies. It's going to have some compromises that are negative compromises, not good, bad. Okay, that's why I'm saying like a well-designed, I shouldn't say electric vehicle. There are plenty of poorly designed electric vehicles. The BMW i3 is a good example of that. There's other ones that are really bad too. A well-designed, and Tesla only has since really, even the original Tesla Roadster, even though it's proof of concept, it was a well-designed electric vehicle. The ones they have now are light years ahead of that in terms of a really good design. Even Model 3 is even better. We're going to get into why Model 3 is better right now in a little bit. But, okay. So when Porsche unveiled the Taycan, and I did a little video talking about that a few weeks back when they first unveiled it, what was surprising was the numbers, the performance numbers, the specs, right? The 0 to 60, 0 to 100, whatever else numbers you can come up with. 0 to 60 is the most popular. One race that is the most popular, I'd say, is 0 to 60 miles per hour. How many seconds can it do? The lower the better, of course. And then 0 to 100 is not as popular. Quarter mile is more popular. There's some really fast times. If you can get anywhere close to 10 seconds, 12 seconds, 11 seconds, 10 seconds, it's amazingly fast. And we already know that the Tesla Model S does that in these amazingly fast times. So there's a compromise there with the Porsche. Top Gear gets their hands on it. They're going to have to say some good things. We know. Now, what was in the spec sheets of the Porsche when they released it a few weeks ago was the fact that it appeared to be, according to the specs, slower acceleration on an equivalent model than the Tesla Model S. All right, so when I say equivalent, let's just talk about the top high-end model. That's all that really matters, because if Tesla Model S is like the fastest, normally priced production car in the world, and Porsche is all about performance, they better beat that car, right? But they didn't. Even their own numbers said, I don't care how great the Porsche feels. It may feel great, but you know what? It's still too much of a compromise because it's not a pure electric platform. We will find out more about that. I am certain as time goes on and people actually start driving these cars, individual people. So Porsche Taycan, they claim without even showing a car that it's slower 0 to 60 than the Tesla Model S. So now here's where the big problem comes in with the Top Gear video. The Top Gear video shows that that's wrong, according to Top Gear. That Porsche Turbo Taycan is faster than the Tesla Model S performance, which is exactly the opposite of what the factory published numbers say. Zach, want to be my boyfriend? No, I'm married and I'm straight, so sorry, but thank you. Zach, do you drive an electric car? Let me know. Donovan, do you drive an electric car? Let me know. Let me know about that in the comments too while we're having this video. Okay, so this is the whole point. This is the whole controversy, is that the factory published numbers, and I'm just going to go off memory. It doesn't matter if it's exact or not. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that Tesla, by a somewhat significant margin, says that from the factory, their Model S performance is faster than the Porsche Taycan Turbo. I believe the numbers were something like 2.4 seconds, 0 to 60, if you go to Tesla's website and check that out. And the Porsche Taycan Turbo is like 2.6. So it's 0.2. It wasn't giant, but it was enough that Porsche was even saying that they don't match up. Not exactly, that they're going to lose a drag race. Donovan rented a Kia crossover this weekend, and yeah, horrible build. Yeah, okay, yeah. Most manufacturers put their worst vehicles on and turn them into electric cars. That's what they have done at this point. But they're going to have to stop doing that if they want to stay in business, because Tesla and everybody else who's going to build a well-designed electric car is going to run them out of business. And they already have. They've already significantly impacted. Tesla has sales of Mercedes, Audi, and BMW vehicles. There's no question about that. And once the Model Y small crossover comes over, that's going to be even more significant. Okay, nothing yet renting for now. Okay. Where was I going with this? Okay, so Top Gear says in their testing, and they showed it. I watched the video. I watched it with Denise, and I was like, I was watching the video. I was like, oh, okay, because I already knew. I remember when they came out a few weeks previous, and Tesla's faster. But Top Gear is saying that their Porsche is faster than the Tesla. Something didn't add up. That's all. I mean, right away, I'm skeptical, especially knowing the history of Top Gear. I'm skeptical. Something did not add up. So right away, I guess I thought back to that video after watching it. I'm like, okay, what did I not see in that video? Well, I didn't see the Tesla launch, the way the Tesla is launched. I did a couple videos, if you look back on my channel, back in 2017 when I got my Tesla. When mine was in service, they loaned me a P100D Tesla Model X. And the Model X is a little slower. It's the SUV version. Model S's sedan version. Heavier, less aerodynamic. It's going to be slower. But it's still almost as fast. So I got to experience that whole thing. And there's a procedure. You got to know this. With the Model S and Model X only. I'm not talking about Model 3. There's a procedure in order to get the fastest, ridiculous, ludicrous is what they call it now, time. Acceleration time, that 2.4 seconds. You can't just get into the car on a cold day and floor it and expect it to go to 0 to 60 in 2.4 seconds. It's just not going to happen. It'll come really close, but if you want that like world record speed, you have to follow the procedure. And my videos talk about the launch procedure, the ludicrous on the P100D. Just look at my channel, you'll find what's involved. I will tell you what's involved, just so you understand why you have to do this right if you're comparing an electric car acceleration 0 to 60 to another electric car 0 to 60. Now the Porsche had a launch mode, and they did that. They said they did the launch mode. Tesla, they didn't really talk about at all what they did. They didn't really show anything out of the ordinary. And like I said, I got videos explaining the procedure of how to launch a Tesla properly and get fastest acceleration, which is the acceleration numbers that they give you on their website. So let me go through the procedure from my memory. And I haven't done this in a while, but it was so burned in my mind because it was significant as to what you needed to do. First of all, you got to preheat the battery. All right. Now it could take 20 to 30 minutes to preheat the battery while you're driving around. I don't think you can even do it while you're just sitting there. Or maybe you can. But it uses a significant amount of electricity from the battery pack to preheat the battery. All right, and once it's preheated, it will give you a little, it'll tell you once you've started the battery preheat procedure. Once it gets there, it'll alert you that the battery is preheated. And I do believe that according to what we found out since the original release of this Top Gear bogus video, that they have said that they did preheat the Tesla battery, even though they didn't show it in the video. All right. Now, once it's preheated, if you again want the fastest acceleration, you need to unlock like what they call like warp speed mode. It's like an Easter egg in the software. You have to unlock it. You know how like I do like the Falcon wing doors flapping up and down, and the Wizards of Winter, whatever that is, song. Well, let me look at my notes here. Yeah, warp speed mode. It's the level above Ludicrous Plus, which is the highest level that you can have right now. And actually, maybe it is Ludicrous Plus. It's above Ludicrous anyway. I don't know if it's Plus. I don't know if it's Warp Speed. I don't know if they're interchangeable. It doesn't matter. Okay. What matters is that you need to unlock this mode, this Warp Speed mode, before you push that accelerator and do your 0 to 60 time. If you don't, you're not going to have top speed. Top Gear did not get top speed out of their Tesla because, as has been revealed, since that video was released, they did not enter. I don't know if Top Gear ever admitted it, but they didn't show any of this stuff that I'm talking to you about. And this takes some time, okay? They didn't show any of it. They didn't talk about it. And I think that somehow the questions have been asked, and it seems apparent that maybe they're not answering one way or the other, which a lot of times people don't do, as we know. But they didn't do it. They didn't do that, so oh well. Now, the next thing, once you unlock the Warp Speed Ludicrous Plus, is the launch mode itself. Now, they mentioned they put the Porsche Taycan in launch mode. And by the way, if you're watching this on one of my other channels, this is important to know from an EV perspective, whether you're looking at trucks or cars, because a lot of stuff is unique to EVs that I just went through about heating up the battery pack, unlocking software stuff. Your truck or whatever may have this stuff too. We just don't know at this point. So it's important you guys are familiar with this. Now, launch mode is available in other internal combustion engine cars too. But I know the way it works in Tesla. I don't know how it works in Porsche exactly, because this is Porsche's first electric car. But basically, the Tesla allows you put your foot on the brake. There's a specific way to do it, and it's described in my videos that I've done. You want to search them up if you want to find out how to do it. But you got your foot on the brake. Then you put your foot on the accelerator. Oops, sorry. Boom. So once you have your foot on the brake and your foot on the accelerator, and you have to be in launch mode to allow you to do this, because otherwise it normally won't let you do it. The software won't let you push both pedals at the same time. So if you don't have a performance model, which I don't have, you don't even have this option available. None of these things I described to you are even available on my car because I have a non-performance Tesla. And we'll talk about Model 3 in a minute. But you have to do all this, and then once you got brake down, accelerator down, all the way down. And there's a ton, like 800 horsepower and like 1,000 newton meters of torque or something like that. Once you push that accelerator down, it loads the torque into all four wheels. So it's really going to accelerate the wear of your driveline. Okay, know that. And they do warn you that too. When you go to Ludicrous Plus mode, it says you're going to accelerate the wear of your driveline. Do you agree to this? Or do you want to go back to your mommy? Something like that. I think that's what the wording was. Again, check it out in my video. But you're loading all the torque. You got all the torque loaded. So the only thing you need to do at this point, once you've done all these things, preheating the battery, put in Ludicrous Plus warp speed mode. What else do we do? Engage the launch mode. Once you are ready to do your race, you just lift off the brake pedal with your left foot. Usually you have to have 2 feet on here, left and right. Right? Your right foot's already floored the accelerator, floored it down. All the power is there. All the extra power through what you did, and then you just let off the brake and you go flying forward. It's like coming out of a slingshot. Like the whole car is in a slingshot. That's what it feels like. Even on the Model X, it's not quite as fast, but that's what it felt like to me in the Model X. And it is. Some people can't handle it. They just can't handle it. And on a Model 3, if you're going to 0 to 60, or sorry, Model S, if you're doing 0 to 60 in 2.4 seconds, you just got to hold on. And you can always let off the accelerator to slow down if you don't like it. But everybody usually just keeps their foot buried and it just watches the show. They didn't show any of this stuff in the Top Gear video. There's no need to go watch it, by the way. I'm describing it for you so you don't get them any clickbait, because I'm sure they're loving this stuff, right? Just like Donald Trump says, any kind of publicity is good publicity. That's what they're banking on. Don't go watch the video. Their video is bogus. That's why I titled this bogus. The whole video is bogus because they didn't do any of the stuff I'm telling you about. I've given you way more overview of the Model S performance than they do in that drag race video, and that's sad because that whole video is based on the performance of the 0 to 60 time and 0 to 100 or whatever else they showed. But they showed in there that basically the Tesla lost. It may have, I think the Tesla was a little bit ahead in the very beginning, but not as far ahead as it should have been. Because like I said, when you do this thing right in the Model S, you are being thrown out of a slingshot. The whole car is being thrown out of a slingshot. That's exactly what it feels like if you've never experienced this before. That's why you'll see some reaction videos. People are just freaked out. They're either yelling and screaming or they can't say a word. They feel like their heart stopped. You can feel all the blood rush to the back of your body. You're doing over 1G launching forward, and nobody has ever expected that. I don't even know if any other car can do that. Maybe the Porsche maybe comes close, but obviously it's not as fast. Because the Porsche doesn't have all this extra stuff I'm telling you. They do have a launch mode. And like I said, I'm not sure how their launch mode works, but they don't have the other aspects. They don't even have that incorporated into their turbo, top of the line, fastest Porsche Taycan. So where does that leave us? Let me look back at my notes. It leaves us, if you followed along with what I said, whether you're a car person or not, I think you understand that Top Gear behave like a bunch of idiots, like a bunch of people that don't even know cars. These are supposed to be the experts, right? They're supposed to be the car experts, and they're incompetent. Okay, if they didn't do and show these things and talk about them, they're incompetent. And now I'm glad I'm looking at my notes. There's another thing. There's another level of ridiculousness to this whole fiasco, okay? There's a thing called range mode on Tesla. Oh, actually, let me back up one more thing. The reason why we know that they didn't engage all these extra modes is because when you engage Ludicrous Plus mode and it shows the warp speed, it shows these warp things like you're going through space, and it talks about the disclaimer and everything. It also changes your screen in front of you. There's two screens on a Model S and Model X. There's the one between the passenger and driver. There's one right in front of you like a traditional instrument panel. And on that traditional instrument panel, it changes the display to give you some more information about the battery and the performance of the battery itself and the current flow and all these things. That didn't show up. You can see clearly in the Top Gear video, it's not even there. So like I said, no need to watch it. I'm just telling you, it's not even there. That's how incompetent Top Gear is. Incompetent is the word. Incompetent. If they claim to be experts, okay, I am way more of an expert than they are. Way more. And you might think I'm incompetent, but if you do, they are absolutely incompetent over at Top Gear. They are beyond incompetent. I can't even think of a word to describe that. So here's the thing, range mode. Range mode is not a performance mode. Actually, it's quite the opposite. It's exactly the opposite of a performance mode. And range mode is something you engage if you want to maximize the efficiency of your electric vehicle by using as little battery as possible to go as long a distance as possible. It's kind of like eco mode in some cars or something like that. I know that my old hybrid from Toyota Lexus has an eco mode. It's kind of like that. I never want to engage it because it does a number of things. Like eco mode on the Lexus, did that too. Not only does it scale back your accelerator so you're not getting the performance for the same level of pedal push. It scales back your heat, your air conditioner. In this electric car, since it's a range mode and it's a Tesla dual motor car, another thing you guys need to be aware of, there's motors front and rear. I think the Porsche does have motors front and rear as well. But not all electric cars have motors front and rear. It's almost like having two engines. If you had an engine in the front under your hood and an engine in the back, but these are real way down low, you don't even see them, so you still have front and rear trunks in a well-designed electric car. There are many electric cars that don't have front and rear trunks, and that's sad. But they're not well designed. You know that right away. So anyway, this range mode will also, instead of 50-50 motor split for electricity and torque and power between the two motors like it usually is, I think they put most of the power to the front of the front motor because front-wheel drive cars are inherently more efficient. I think that's probably still the case even with a Tesla because they are generally rear-biased cars. They perform much more like a rear-drive car, even though it's all-wheel drive car with motors front and rear. And if you have any questions about this motors front and rear thing, let me know. I know it's complicated. I'm trying not to get into too much, but you got to know this because The range mode is adjusting all these things, and it's adjusting them in a way that is less than optimal, that doesn't care about performance, doesn't care about speed, doesn't care about anything except preserving and using every last electron that's in your battery pack. And here's the significant part and why I was telling you this. Because in the Top Gear video, believe it or not, they had range mode engaged and turned on the Tesla. Okay, so not only did they not launch the Tesla properly, did they not go through all the things to get the Ludicrous Plus uh, and everything else with the launch mode, they had it on range mode. Seriously, they had it on the mode where you're going to get the least amount of performance on a 0 to 60 run. In addition to not using the advantages of the Tesla performance, features that you need to go through, okay? It's crazy. Like I said, Top Gear is incompetent. They are incompetent. I can't know how many times I can say this. This is why I'm making a live video. This is why I'm not putting this on like I do my regular videos on the digitalnomad.net channel, because this requires a lot of explanation. This requires a lot of me concentrating and looking right into the camera and telling you exactly what they're doing wrong, because they are wrong on so many levels. And electric vehicles are like, even if you have not driven one, they're basically like computers on wheels. They have all these, think about your laptop. I'm in front of my laptop right now. There are so many things I can adjust and change. You may not know that they're in there, and you're probably not a computer expert if you don't, and that's fine. But if you are a computer expert, you know that they're in there. There's about 1 million adjustments you can make. That's how Top Gear is supposed to be. They're supposed to be the experts at driving, and they apparently didn't know it or didn't do it. When they're doing like the most significant race they can do, which requires all the performance the car has, and they did it wrong. Those little memes that says you're doing it wrong. That should be the little picture of the Top Gear video of that drag race between the Model S and the Porsche Taycan. They're doing it. They just did it all wrong. Okay, so if you have a Model S Performance or a P90D or P100D or Model X, any one of those Performance, P100D or P90D, only on those cars can you do all those things. Range mode is on every Tesla. Okay, range mode, you figure maybe they should just disable that on the Performance model. Why would you ever want that? Unless you're about to run out of electricity, maybe, I guess, if you remember to turn it on. Okay, because I've almost run out. I have run out. Every single time I forgot to turn on range mode. Now that I think about it, I never even used the thing. You have to remember to do it. Go in there and do it. Now with the performance models of Teslas, everybody knows. Anybody who's anybody on a car show, they know about this stuff. They just didn't do it on purpose because they wanted the Porsche to win. It was fixed, bogus. It's bad. It's bad journalism. It's bad on so many levels. I would hope that Elon Musk would just sue them if he's even allowed to, because they shouldn't be allowed to be in business and claim that, or insinuate that they are experts in terms of automobiles. If they do this ridiculous, bogus, incompetent video, I don't care how polished the video is or what it looks like and all the graphics they put in there, it means nothing if you are basically, the premise that you've done the video is completely wrong and you're incompetent, because that's what they are. Now let me see if I've forgotten anything else. If you guys, let me know your feelings on this, but just be aware that this is just another one of these examples where I don't care what kind of reputation somebody has. There are incompetent people out there doing things, and I don't care. Don't assume competency. They have to, because if you would assume that, you would come up with a totally wrong thing. And I think I've talked about everything I want to talk about here, because I think I've covered everything. There's not much more to say except don't ever bother to watch that channel unless you want to be misinformed. And it's kind of strange because they're like car people, and 0 to 60, it's like the biggest test. You want to do everything you can. Oh, they did do a few things right. Okay, let me see. They did a few. They both had batteries in excess of like 85% charge, I think. They didn't say exactly what they were, but I've done videos on this too. a electric car is different than an internal combustion engine in the way that, a lot of times internal combustion engines will behave differently based on the altitude you're running the car at because of air being forced into the pistons. This is technical, I know. But at higher altitudes, I think it's harder to get that done. So you're going to have slower acceleration times at higher altitudes. Also with temperatures, lower temperatures generally will give you faster acceleration, I believe, as long as they're not incredibly ridiculously low over a hot temperature, because in a hot temperature, I think you can't cram as much air also into the cylinders and for the pistons to explode, cause the explosions. By the way, if you don't know, piston engines, ICE vehicles, internal combustion, they're all controlled explosions. That's what they are. They're controlled explosions, which is another reason why electric cars are so much better. Why would you want that if you don't have to have controlled explosions? Especially with having multiple cylinders all the time. Now, let me get back. Like I said, I was going to talk about the Model 3. Okay. This video, you got to recognize, if you're watching this video, you watch it all the way through, I'm only talking about the Tesla Model S and the Tesla Model X. The performance versions, either the P90, the P100, actually let me say P90D, because there's no P90 ever. It was always a P90D, P100D, or Model S or Model X Performance, which actually has a line underneath, I think. I think Model 3 is also going with that line underneath now as the designation as a performance. But Model 3 Performance versus Model S and Model X Performance couldn't be further. They couldn't be more different cars. And you got to think about it. Elon Musk is a very smart guy. I think we all know that. He designed the Model S and the Model X to be like the fastest production versions of either sedans or SUVs, okay? And, that's what he wanted. He wanted records. And that's why this video is so important, because Top Gear is insinuating that Tesla has a bogus record. Like record fast time, and that Porsche is actually faster than they say they are, which is not true. None of that's true. That's lies at best, misrepresentations at the very least. Now here's why Model 3 is different. Model 3 was never designed to be the fastest production four-door sedan on earth or whatever. So all these little things that you need to do to get the fastest time, I guess it's not important to Model 3. And I'm sure that all these little things, when you do these, it all adds to the cost of the vehicle. And of course, Model 3 is at a lower price point, significantly lower. Sometimes almost, I think when the Model 3 was first launched, it was almost half the price of the equivalent Model S. I think those gaps have narrowed now that costs have come down for everything, including Model S and X, which have actually, those costs have come down even faster than the Model 3 costs recently. So Model 3 doesn't have any of this stuff. All the stuff I told you, they have range mode. I think they do have range mode. Comment below if you're a Model 3 driver and you have range mode. I'm almost certain that you do. But there's none of this preheating the battery, warming up the battery, launch mode, ludicrous plus mode, warp speed mode. There's none of that. Unlocking anything, there's none of that. And that actually makes, in my mind, the Model 3 an even better car. If your biggest deal is performance in a straight line, beating other cars off the line in the real world, in traffic, randomly at any point in time, well, I think the Model 3 Performance is better than both the Model S Performance and the Porsche Taycan Turbo, whatever. Because you don't need to do anything, ever. I don't care if it's 0 to 60, which is like 3.2 seconds, so it's not that far behind. But more importantly, in the real world, because that's just on a fancy video and a track where you go all out, which obviously Top Gear didn't go all out. They made a bogus video. But how many times can I say that? In the real world, you're just going to randomly look over, or someone whizzes by you, and you just want to punch it. And in that environment, which is everybody's environment, all the time when you're driving, the Model 3 is a better car than the Model S because all that power is available right there all the time. All that power. Don't do anything fancy, nothing. Okay? Especially right from a standstill, if it's a sudden 0 to 60 sprint with somebody next to you at a traffic light or something like that. And have you guys compared Model 3 to Model S? I mean, they're two different cars, different price points, and of course Model S is faster if you do it right. If you do it wrong, actually it's still faster than the Model 3 Performance. But then if you do it wrong, you can claim a Porsche Taycan is faster, and we don't want to do that. And if you're watching any other channel besides the Tesla Model 3 or Tesla Model S channels or other stuff that I have, and you're watching a truck channel, it's an EV, this stuff will likely apply. These concepts are going to apply to electric trucks too. And like I said, if you want to learn more about towing and you're watching on the electric truck channel, check out my channel. Check out the long distance towing videos I've done. I'm going to be doing more towing than ever in the near future. So learn about range anxiety with towing, how it eats into the range and all that stuff. Anyway, but let me know your thoughts in the comments, even if you're not watching this live. And let me know if you're ever going to watch Top Gear again. That's what I want to know. I mean, everybody needs to boycott them at this point, because whatever they claim to be and have built up over time in terms of a reputation, this fiasco that they've done with the Porsche Taycan and Tesla Model S just destroys any kind of credibility they have. There's absolutely zero reason that they should have done the video in the way they did, and they should have absolutely known to do it better and to do it right, and they didn't do it. So that's it. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.